there's also this out of the 49er world, and I do think this is kind of buzzing beneath the surface, especially with people right now are definitely, I know this for a fact, they are making plans for their fantasy football drafts. That's late July.
Man.
Late July is when you start getting on the phone and where are we going? What are we doing? Let's get the draft together. And along with that, some of us, you start to keep a little bit, or at least even if it's just kind of a what would you do if kind of a question. There's no camp reports yet, but, what would you do if you got the third pick in the draft this year or whatnot? And Christian McCaffrey is definitely on the table. He has rejuvenated his fantasy football image to where he's on the table to be the first overall pick in drafts. And here he is looking around the league, and it might be one of the reasons why he's one who's at the top of the board, because he is with a team that's happy with him, and he's happy, and he is going to get all of those reps. Around the league, the running back position is under assault. And Christian just tweeted this 4 hours ago. Quote, "This is criminal. 3 of the best players in the entire league, regardless of position." Now, who's he talking about? He's quote tweeting a rap sheet report that says no long-term deal for Saquon Barkley, no long-term deal for Josh Jacobs, no long-term deal for Tony Pollard with the Cowboys. They will all play on the 1-year franchise tag in order to play this year. McCaffrey may end up going down as one of the last dudes to get the big bag at that position going forward. Dalvin Cook doesn't even have a team right now.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think about, but the reason why that could be the case, there's 2 reasons for it. One, when Christian McCaffrey came into the league, running back was still valued. If Christian McCaffrey was a rookie last year, he would probably be in a similar spot in terms of his long-term viability, with the exception, and this is interesting in terms of Austin Eckler and what happens with his contract, because Eckler is a lot more like McCaffrey than Saquon Barkley certainly is, and even Dalvin Cook, because he can be a receiver. And in this NFL that we now sit with, and forget the fantasy football, is it a PPR, is it a half-point PPR, whatever your league is, in actual real football, you have to have a guy as a running back like Christian McCaffrey. The days of the Ezekiel Elliott, take it 21 times a game and pound it, those days are over. You got to have a running back now who you can put in the slot, who you can throw it to 100 times a year. Well,
I think it's a really good point, because actually we were batting this around over the weekend, and I mentioned this to Ephraim, like we were talking about the top paid running back.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're not doing that anymore. They're not going to pay this guy. They're not going to pay that guy. And I go, well, McCaffrey got paid. He goes, that's not one position. That's 2. Like, Christian McCaffrey is a lightweight Shohei Ohtani in terms of how football works and the way the 49ers do it. I know that that's not a perfect comp. It's not like he goes and plays linebacker when he's done with running back.
Right.
But you can move him around in such a way and do so many different things. You remember the game against the Rams. It's like, I can run for a touchdown. I can catch a touchdown. I can throw a touchdown. He's such a weapon, and so maybe that's why he is a little bit set aside. Or maybe it's like you said, it was just a while ago when people were still getting paid. Highest paid running backs for the 2023 season in the NFL.
What's our metric here? Is it average annual value?
Average salary per year.
Okay.
Average salary per year. Number 1, Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
49ers, $16 million. By the way, if you had told me at any point in Kyle Shanahan's tenure that he would employ the top paid running back in the NFL, I would have laughed at your face.
Yeah.
I would have laughed at your face.
And I thought the same thing, which is why I was so stunned last year when they made that trade. And when you look at what they gave up, and you look at it now after what we saw from Christian McCaffrey, and they gave up, a second, a third, a fourth, and a fifth to get Christian McCaffrey, feels like a steal.
Oh, there's no question it was.
I mean, in the moment, it was like, injury concerns.
No, there's no question it was.
But now, seeing him in this offense and thinking about their skill set guys, when you've got McCaffrey, Kittle, Debo, and Ayuk, I mean, that is as nasty a quartet as you can find.
Number 2, Alvin Kamara, Saints, $15 million. Number 3 is listed on this site as Dalvin Cook, $12.6 million, Minnesota Vikings.
yeah.
He has been released. He's not even on a team. Number 4, Derrick Henry, $12.5 million. Number 5, Nick Chubb at $12.2. And number 6 is the Bengals' Joe Mixon, $12 million, who just restructured his deal to stay with the Bengals. So he's out there at least, I don't know about a pay cut, but at least restructuring the money a little bit. And it all speaks to the same thing. Like, as part of the top 10 are those names that we just saw. Tony Pollard, Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
They're all now going to play at around that $10 million mark this year. And, it's not that I feel for these guys, but if you look at the way the NFL is structured, we always talk about the how the money is different there and not guaranteed. This is where my mind goes. If you got a high school athlete,
I'm totally with you.
Man, I'd be like, Coach, make him a DB. I got no interest. Do you know how old Zeke Elliott is? How old do you think he is?
Physically or chronologically?
Like how many years
Physically,
around the sun?
44.
Okay.
Chronologically, I think he's 27.
You are exactly right.
On both.
And when I looked that up, I was shocked.
27, am I right?
27.
Oh, my God.
I go, doesn't it feel like he's 33? He's being treated like he's 33.
Yes. I mean, you're absolutely right. And the name I threw out earlier, Austin Eckler, I think will be a fascinating case study. I believe he's a free agent after this year. And last year, he had 915 yards on the ground, and he had 107 catches. So if I'm Austin Eckler, I'm going to, the Chargers front office and saying, guys, I want to just catch the ball this year. Can we make me a receiver? I'd rather not tote the rock at all. 204 carries, 107 catches. So if you're Eckler and you're going to be out in the market and he's making 6.2, I think the cap hits $9 million this year, which that guy should be making McCaffrey type money because he's an unbelievable weapon. But you look at the running back market, and I'd be terrified if I was Eckler.
Peter Jacobson, former golfer, great broadcaster, was on the Steph Curry broadcast over the weekend, joins us in 5 minutes. But yes, call me none surprised that Austin Eckler did not come to an agreement with the Los Angeles Chargers of San Diego.
Right.
They're not paying anybody, and they're certainly not paying a running back who is surprisingly, you ready for this? This is going to really blow your mind. Austin Eckler is older than Ezekiel Elliott.
No way.
Uh-huh. Yep.
You almost got me to swear again. Oh, blank.
Austin Eckler turned 28 2 months ago. Zeke Elliott turns 28 later this month.
Oh.
Austin Eckler is older than Zeke. Doesn't it feel like Eckler's just getting started in the league and Zeke's been here for 22 years?
Completely.
That's how it feels. But anyway, Eckler's going to be an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. And you're right. You'll not come to a deal with the Chargers because they're not going to pay anybody. He's not going to want to get the workload that he normally has because he wants to get a big deal at the end of the year, and he doesn't want to look broken down. And he's in a really tough spot. He is on this list as well. No, he has not been released, but count him among the running backs who went to their team, said, I need a raise or I need to get an extension or paid, and the team went, yeah. Nah.
Right?
Never mind.
And that's, you look at Derrick Henry in similar light. He has simply been, up until last year where, he had a little bit more of a quiet year, only 1,538 yards rushing. They have run that guy into the ground, and he's facing a couple of avoidable years, and he's going to be 30 years old. So you're Derrick Henry. You're about 150 days short of your 30th birthday. He's not getting anything on the open market. And all he's done is get the hard yards for Tennessee for his entire career. Yet you can't imagine any team, Mark, looking at Derrick Henry and thinking, we'll give you $4 and $75 million. Derrick Henry is going to be playing for peanuts.
Matt Miller, I know you know who that is, NFL draft scout. He's a big 49er fan, by the way. A lot of this is in response to a tweet that he sent out. And all the players follow Matt. And they're unfortunately not pleased with what he said. But what he said is really just mimicking what they do in the NFL. He wrote, been saying it for years, draft a running back, play that running back. If he's good, franchise the running back one time, and then rinse, repeat, draft a running back. Well, Derrick Henry caught wind of that earlier today, and he quote tweeted and wrote, "At this point, just take the running back position out of the game then. The ones that want to be great and work as hard as they can to give their all to an organization just seems like it don't even matter. I'm with every running back that's fighting to get what they deserve." I mean, look at these running backs are running around like SAG-AFTRA right now. Meantime, the wide receivers are sitting with their feet up with cigars in their mouths because of Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk, $18 million a year, and then Tyreek reset the whole damn thing, $30 million a year.
Yeah.
He is almost doubling Christian McCaffrey. And let's be honest, is he double Christian on the field? Not even close. I'd rather have Christian on my team.
No doubt. And I mean, fantasy stats are fantasy stats, but I was looking at some mocks, and Christian McCaffrey has been taken second overall, third. I mean, he's first running back off the board. If you're in a PPR league, point per reception, you got to have a running back like McCaffrey or Austin Eckler. And I think about Derrick Henry, and yeah, he's made $45 million for his career, so I'm not going to cry over poverty for Derrick Henry, but 1,750 carries, Mark. They have driven this guy into the ground, and to his point, you know, when he goes out on the free agent market again next year, he's not even going to sniff Christian Kirk money. He's more likely to be in Dalvin Cook's zip code as a guy who's going to be just looking for a gig.
How old do you think Derrick Henry is?
I looked. He's 29.
Yep.
But physically, he's probably closer to 45 as much. You look at his carries, 378, 219, 349. I mean, he's left it all out there for Tennessee. And for what?
And by the Super Bowl this year, he will be 30.
Right.
He will have turned 30, and that is a wrap.
When you look at how many carries he had in college and what he's done for Tennessee in the pros in terms of the physical pounding he's taken. So as a running back, you're looking at this, and you're a rookie running back. What are you thinking in terms of your deal? Because you got a 4-year deal with a 5th-year option if you're a first-rounder. Then they franchise you. I'm 28. It's over.
I'm thinking of change of positions.
Exactly.
That's what I'm doing, man, especially with the punishment that they take. It's crazy.